You're not alone, even when the night seems darkest and the silence deafens your soul. Know that the universe itself is whispering to you in divine harmony, reminding you with every star that God's light never fades, that He walks beside you through every storm, every tear, every doubt, holding your hand when you feel lost, lifting you when your strength fails, and sending angels in forms you cannot always see but can always feel, because the message is clear. You are loved beyond measure. You are seen. You are cherished. No matter how heavy the burden, no matter how deep the pain, the cosmos is aligned to bring you hope, healing, and new beginnings. And today, right now, God's massage to your heart is simple yet profound. Stand up, breathe deep, and remember that this moment, with all its trials, is the gateway to your breakthrough, that the universe conspires in your favor, that your prayers are heard even in the quietest sighs, that your faith is the anchor that steadies your spirit, and that you have a purpose so powerful that even the mountains bow to your resolve. So do not fear the road ahead, for God's love is the light that will guide your every step, and you are never alone in this journey, because the universe, in its infinite wisdom, has wrapped you in a blanket of grace, peace, and strength, urging you to keep moving forward with courage in your heart and fire in your soul. For the best chapters of your life have yet to be written, and your story is one of victory, resilience, and boundless love. And when the world turns its back on you, and you feel like you're drowning in a sea of silence, remember that your soul was handcrafted by the Creator of stars, who never makes mistakes and never abandons His masterpiece. And you are that masterpiece. And every breath you take is a testimony that your purpose is still unfolding. And even when the noise of the world tries to drown out your worth, the truth remains unshaken. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. For the very breath of God breathes within you, and the universe bends its path to bring you signs of light, love, and breakthrough. So don't give up when the weight feels unbearable, because the pressure you feel now is forming diamonds in your spirit, and every closed door was a redirection, not a rejection, and every delay is divine protection and preparation for the elevation that is coming your way. So trust the process, even when it doesn't make sense, because the Almighty's plan is built on infinite wisdom and divine timing, and you are walking into seasons of abundance, healing, joy, and supernatural favor. Even if your eyes can't see it yet, your faith is pulling miracles from the unseen, and your tears are watering the seeds of greatness planted deep within your soul. And no voice of fear, no voice of doubt, no shadow of failure can cancel what God has already written about you in the scrolls of eternity. So stand up with quiet strength, lift your head, breathe in the power of the present, because you are still here, and that means your calling is still alive. And the next chapter of your story will be the one that shakes the very ground you walk on, because you were born to shift atmospheres, to light up darkness, to rise when others fall, and to carry the glory of the divine within your words, your actions, your love, and your resilience. So let the past be a school, not a prison, and let your scars be stories, not shame, because everything you've been through is building the version of you that is unstoppable, unshakable, and destined for impact far beyond what your mind can imagine. And today, God whispers into your soul, not with thunder, but with sacred stillness, saying, "You are mine, you are loved, you are enough." And those words carry the weight of galaxies, the softness of grace, and the fire of redemption. So let go of guilt that was never yours to carry. Let go of bitterness that's been poisoning your peace. Let go of the fear that has kept your wings folded, and rise into the light of who you really are. A child of the divine, chosen not because you are perfect, but because you are willing to trust again, to believe again, to try again, to dream again. And the universe stands ready to co-create your destiny with you, to open new paths where none existed, to flood your life with connections that bless you, with opportunities that stretch you, and with miracles that humble you. Because this is not the end. This is your beginning disguised as a breakdown. This is your transformation hidden beneath the weight of trials. This is your rebirth rising from the ashes of confusion into clarity, conviction, and confidence. And no weapon formed against your soul will prosper, because divine fire surrounds you and angelic forces walk with you. So even if your eyes are full of tears, let your heart be full of trust. And even if your hands are trembling, let your spirit be firm in knowing that you were made for this exact moment, for this exact fight, for this exact testimony that will uplift not only your life, but the lives of many who are waiting to hear how you made it through, how you didn't give up, how you found light in the middle of your night, and how you trusted God when nothing made sense. And those moments, those stories, those battles, they are your sacred offering to the world. They are the fire that will spark revival in others. Because your life is not small, your voice is not insignificant, your path is not random, and your spirit is not alone. For the Eternal One who carved the oceans and painted the skies walks beside you even now, breathing courage into your soul, sending divine encounters into your path, and lifting burdens you thought you had to carry alone. But the truth is, you were never alone, not even for a moment, not even in your darkest cries, not even when everyone walked away, because God never left, never blinked, never turned away, and His love has been chasing you, covering you, calling you back to your center, back to your fire, back to your divine truth. And no amount of brokenness, sin, or failure can outmatch the redemptive love that flows from the throne of grace and pours directly into your heart every time you choose to believe again, to forgive again, to move forward again. And in this sacred breath, you are being rewritten, reborn, and realigned to the frequency of divine favor. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop what God is doing in your life now. Not your past, not your mistakes, not the people who left, not the pain that tried to define you. Because your identity is not in your scars, it's in your survival, it's in your story, it's in the light that refuses to go out inside you, no matter how fierce the winds have blown. And that light is divine, that light is unstoppable, that light is you. And you were never created to be ordinary. You were crafted to be radiant, resilient, and revolutionary in the way you love, the way you rise, the way you forgive, and the way you glow even in broken places. So hold on, breathe in, and know with unwavering certainty that you're not alone now, not ever. Because the arms of the infinite have never let go of you, and they never will. And when you wake up wondering why the battle hasn't ended yet, why the breakthrough hasn't shown up yet, why you're still holding on by threads of hope that feel like they're unraveling, understand this is not the silence of absence, but the silence of alignment. Because even in what feels like delay, God is doing deep work behind the scenes, rearranging timelines, preparing the right people, removing traps you never saw, and strengthening your spirit for the weight of the blessing that's coming. And your waiting is not wasted. It's sacred. It's a season where your soul is being trained to trust beyond what eyes can see and ears can hear. It's where your roots grow deep enough to stand tall when the storm comes. Because elevation without preparation leads to collapse. But you, chosen one, are being built to endure, to shine, to thrive. And though the night feels endless, the dawn is on its way. Not because the clock says so, but because heaven declared it over you before you were ever formed in the womb. And nothing can override what God has authored about your life. And you may not see the pages turning, but you can trust the author who never writes defeat into your destiny. And every no you received was a divine redirection to something better. Every closed door was mercy in disguise. Every heartbreak was God pulling you back before you gave too much of your soul to something that couldn't hold it. And you will see, one day soon, why it had to be this way, why the pain served you, why the silence healed you, why the loneliness purified you, and why the long road was actually the safest path. Because divine timing isn't just about delay, it's about protection, alignment, multiplication, and glory that doesn't fade. And you will rise out of this, not just restored, but transformed, not just healed, but empowered, not just surviving but soaring. And you'll look back and realize you never really walked alone. You were carried by unseen hands. You were held in eternal arms. You were protected by heavenly hosts. And you were loved through it all, on the mountaintop and in the valley, in the noise and in the stillness, in the doubt and in the divine whisper that never stopped speaking to your soul even when your mind was too loud to hear it. And now it's time to breathe deeper, to let the light in, to surrender not out of fear, but out of faith, knowing you don't have to figure it all out. You just have to keep walking, keep trusting, keep believing, because your footsteps are ordered even when they feel uncertain. And God is not looking for your perfection. He's looking for your persistence, your faithfulness, your open heart, your yielded soul, and He will fill the rest with favor that overwhelms, peace that calms, and miracles that make you fall to your knees in awe. Because He's not done with you, not even close. And the story you're living is just a glimpse of the glory that's about to unfold. And every battle was a setup for victory. Every tear a seed of blessing. Every wilderness a prelude to promised land. And every setback a slingshot toward your divine assignment. So hold nothing back now, because the fire inside you wasn't meant to be contained. It was meant to spread, to light up dark places, to remind others that broken doesn't mean buried, that silence doesn't mean forgotten, that waiting doesn't mean wasted, that pain doesn't mean punishment. It means purpose, it means purity, it means process, and it means power that is birthed when everything else is stripped away. And all that remains is your raw, burning, unshakable yes to the divine calling on your life. And that yes will break chains, will open doors, will align heaven to earth. Because God doesn't need the strongest. He uses the surrendered. He doesn't ask you to be fearless. He invites you to bring your fear and watch it melt in the furnace of His love. Because He is not distant, not angry, not punishing you. He is preparing you, mending you, shaping you with holy fire and relentless grace. And soon, the people who saw you broken will have no choice but to witness you whole. And the ones who thought it was over for you will have to watch as God lifts you in plain sight, not for your pride, but for His glory. And your voice, your light, your love will become a lighthouse for others still drowning in the darkness you once knew. And they'll look at you and see not just a survivor, but a warrior, a vessel, a miracle in motion. Because God doesn't do halfway blessings. He finishes what He starts. And what He started in you is holy. It's unstoppable. It's anointed. And it's time for the world to see what heaven already knows. That you are chosen, you are called, you are rising, and you are never, ever alone. And in the moments when everything feels like it's falling apart, when the weight on your chest feels unbearable and your heart is asking questions your mind can't answer, remember this one truth. The breaking is not the end. It's the beginning of your blooming. And God never allows breaking without birthing something beautiful from it. And though the pain feels loud now, it's making room for a deeper strength, a brighter light, a more refined version of who you were always meant to be. And you must know that just because it hurts doesn't mean you're failing. Sometimes pain is just growth in disguise, divine shaping, soul-deep preparation for the next level that your spirit has been crying out for. And the chaos you see around you is not disorder. It is the rearranging of things to align with the promises spoken over your life. And no matter how dark it feels, you are still being guided by a light that cannot be extinguished, not by fear, not by doubt, not by loss, because that light is divine and it lives within you. And even when your path is hidden, your purpose remains fixed. Even when your hands are trembling, your calling remains solid. Even when your tears fall silently at night, the heavens are moving loudly in your favor, orchestrating things you can't yet see, opening doors that you never even knocked on, aligning hearts, resources, ideas, and timing that will collide at just the right moment to launch you into the place you were born to rise from. And you must understand that favor doesn't always feel like comfort, and alignment doesn't always look like success at first, because pruning comes before blossoming, silence before the song, wilderness before the wonder. And your journey, every setback, every rejection, every lonely night is being stitched into a masterpiece of glory that only the Creator Himself could have imagined. And what felt like abandonment was actually protection. What looked like loss was actually liberation. What sounded like a no was actually a not this, because I've got better. And you were never forgotten in the waiting, never invisible in the silence, never insignificant in the stillness. Heaven had its eyes on you the whole time. Angels encamped around you, grace woven through your every step. And now it's your time to rise. Not because you are perfect, but because you are prepared. Not because you have everything together, but because your heart is surrendered and your spirit is resilient. And the blessings that are coming will not just restore what you lost. They will multiply it, purify it, and glorify the one who carried you through the fire and never let you burn. And when people look at your story, they will not see someone lucky. They will see someone favored, someone chosen, someone who didn't give up, someone who kept believing, even when there was no evidence, even when the world said you were done, even when the nights were long and the answers felt delayed. And that kind of faith is what opens the floodgates of miracles. That kind of trust is what moves mountains. That kind of surrender is what makes heaven lean in and say, now it begins. And that's where you are, beloved. You are standing on the edge of everything changing. And even if it doesn't feel like it yet, your atmosphere is shifting. Your name is being mentioned in rooms of favor. Your soul is being elevated in the spirit realm. And all of creation is aligning for the breakthrough that's already on its way to you. Not because you earned it, but because God promised it. And God cannot lie. His word does not return void. His timing is never off, and His hand is never late. So breathe and believe again, because your next miracle will be marked not by how hard you worked, but by how deeply you trusted, how faithfully you waited, how gently you surrendered, and how bravely you stood even when everything around you said fall. And your reward will not just be seen in things. It will be seen in your peace, your power, your joy, your glow. Because what God does in you is always greater than what He does for you. And when your inner world is healed, your outer world reflects that transformation. So let go of what hurt you. Release what broke you. Forgive what wounded you. And step into the version of you that you are always becoming through the pain. And let the world see the radiance of someone who was rebuilt by grace, who was refined by fire, who was lifted by love, and who now walks not in fear, but in fierce divine favor. Because your journey is not just about you. It's about everyone watching, everyone following, everyone needing to see proof that God still moves, still heals, still answers, and you are that proof. Your story is that light. Your survival is that testimony. And nothing can stop what heaven has written. No lie, no delay, no betrayal, no fear. Because the truth has already been sealed in glory. That you are His, you are rising, you are loved, and you are never, ever alone. His name was Elijah, and he had always believed in strength, but life taught him to survive instead. And when the people he loved walked away, and the dreams he carried shattered in the dust, he looked at the sky and whispered, "Why?" And the silence that followed felt louder than any scream he'd ever held inside. And so he wandered far from the life he knew, not to escape it, but to understand it. And in the wilderness of his own thoughts, he began to meet his broken pieces one by one, sitting with the fear that once made him run, facing the voices that said he was never enough. And the deeper he went, the more he found that the war outside was nothing compared to the war within. And one night, under a sky so starless, it almost mocked hope, he fell to his knees, not in prayer, but in surrender. And he whispered, "If you're still there, I can't carry this anymore." And that's when the wind changed. That's when something unexplainable wrapped around his tired soul, like warmth without fire, light without flame, and a voice not heard in ears, but felt in bones, spoke not with words, but with presence, and said, "You were never meant to carry this alone." And he wept, not because he was weak, but because someone finally saw him without him having to speak. And as the days passed, he didn't get answers. He got strength. He didn't get explanations. He got peace. And slowly, he began to rebuild, not his life, but his faith, brick by broken brick. He laid down every lie he believed about being unworthy, every scar he wore like shame, every failure that whispered finished, and in place of it, he wrote new truths with trembling hands, like, "I am still loved, I am still chosen, I am still here." And life didn't magically become easier, but it became clearer. The storms still came, but he didn't shake the nights, still wept, but he didn't drown, and people still left, but he didn't crumble because something inside had changed. Something had anchored him, and when others asked how he kept going, he smiled, not because he had all the answers, but because he knew who held the questions. And that was enough. And one day, he met a girl sitting on the same bench where he once cried, and she looked as lost as he once felt. And he sat beside her, not with advice, but with presence. And he said, "You don't have to talk. I just want you to know you're not alone." And her tears said more than words ever could. And in that moment, he realized the healing he found was never just for him. It was to become a lighthouse for others, a guide. Not because he was perfect, but because he remembered the dark and now knew the way through it. And that's what he became. A quiet kind of miracle. Not flashy, not loud, but deeply real and undeniably strong. And heaven kept using his wounds as keys to unlock other souls, and his past as proof that redemption isn't reserved for the holy, it's for the hurting. And slowly his story traveled not in books, but in whispers of hope, in coffee shop conversations in hospital, waiting rooms in shelters and silent prayers, because he carried something most people forget how to hold. Authentic faith, not the kind that needs to shout, but the kind that survives fire and still smells like grace. And over time, Elijah forgot to keep score of blessings and burdens because they all began to look like gifts. And the boy who once questioned everything became the man who trusted even in silence. And if you ever met him, you wouldn't think prophet or preacher or saint, just a friend with eyes that saw past pain and into purpose. And his story became a ripple that reached thousands, and he never took credit because he knew the author was not him. He was just the paper and the pen was God's. And when he finally laid down his life, not in death but in surrender, the earth didn't shake, but heaven surely did. Because a life fully lived in love is a shout in the spirit realm that echoes louder than any sermon. And the moral of Elijah's story isn't about survival. It's about surrender. It's about what happens when a heart breaks open and lets divinity in. And maybe that's what God has been waiting for in you too. Not your perfection, but your permission. Not your strength, but your surrender. Not your answers, but your honesty. Because the same way he met Elijah in the dark, he's waiting to meet you. And maybe the crack in your heart is where his light wants to get in. Why are you so quiet? God, I've been praying every night, and all I hear is my own heartbeat echoing in the dark. Where are you? I'm drowning in thoughts that scream louder than my faith. I thought, you said, you'd never leave me, child. I never left you. But it's in the silence that I strengthen your hearing. I'm teaching you to feel me, even when you can't see me, to trust me, when nothing makes sense. Then why does it feel like I'm failing, like I'm forgotten, because you're measuring my love through your pain instead of my promises? And my promises don't expire just because your patience is tested. Then why do doors keep closing? I thought you were opening the way I am, but the right door often looks like a wall until I decide it's time to open it. You mean this isn't punishment? No, beloved. This is preparation. I'm stretching your faith past your comfort so you can carry what I'm about to release into your life. But I'm tired, I know. And I see every tear you've cried, every time you smiled in public, but broke in private, every time you stayed kind, when you were treated cruelly, and I've counted every silent scream as a prayer, even when you had no words to speak. But then, why does it seem like others are being blessed, while I'm just surviving? Because I'm not just blessing you with things, I'm blessing you with character, with wisdom, with discernment, with peace that doesn't need circumstances to feel secure. And when I elevate you, you won't fall, because your foundation will be me. But God, I don't feel strong, and you don't have to be. I'm not asking you to be a warrior. I'm asking you to be willing, because I do. My best work in weakness, not strength. I'm scared, that's okay. Bring me your fear. I can handle your raw truth. I'm not looking for perfect prayers. I'm looking for honest hearts. But what if I mess up again? You will, and I'll still be here. Grace was never based on your perfection, but on my promise then. What do you want from me? Trust, surrender, and just one step forward, even if it's a small one. Even if you're trembling, I can work with movement, I can multiply your mustard seed, but it's hard to hope again. I know, but hope isn't naive, it's holy. It's the anchor for your soul, and it's what pulls you forward when your emotions want to pull you under. What if I lose people along the way? Some were never meant to walk your entire journey. They were a chapter, not the whole story, but I'll send the right ones who won't just walk with you, but speak life into your spirit. What if I fall again? I'll catch you, and even if you fall 7 times, I'll lift you 8. Because falling isn't failure. It's just part of learning to fly. And what if I don't have the strength to get back up? Then lean into me. I'll be your strength. And the more you trust, the more you'll rise without even realizing it. Then why do you love me like this? Because I made you. Because I see you fully and still choose you. Because I know the battles you've fought, that no one applauded, the tears you held back, so others wouldn't worry, the dreams you buried under duties, and yet you still believe. And that kind of heart I can't ignore. So what now? Now you rest, not in passivity, but in divine alignment. Rest knowing I'm working. Even when you don't feel it, I'm orchestrating. Even when you don't see it, I'm healing. Even when you're still hurting, and I'm closer than your breath, even when the room feels empty. But what if I forget this moment when things get dark again? I'll remind you, and I'll send signs, songs, messages, people, even dreams. I'll keep pursuing your heart because that's who I am. I am the God who stays, and what if I don't think I'm worthy of this kind of love? Then I'll keep loving you until you believe it yourself, because you're not here by accident. You're here because I spoke you into existence with purpose, written into every breath you take. Then help me walk this out, not in my strength, but in yours always. And remember, child, you were never expected to carry the weight of the world. You were only ever asked to carry my presence. And when you do that, even valleys become altars, even battles become testimonies, and even pain becomes praise. And what if people don't understand my path? They don't need to. They weren't called to it. You were. And as long as you walk with me, their opinions can't override my plan. Then why does the world feel so heavy sometimes? Because your soul was made for eternity, and everything here is temporary. So when your spirit longs for more, it's because it was made for me, and I'm drawing you closer to that eternal truth. So how do I move forward in faith, even when I'm afraid? Step with me, not ahead of me, not behind me, just with me. And I'll do the rest. So I'm not alone. Not for a second. I've been with you in every moment, every breakdown, every breakthrough, every breath, and I always will be. And that's my promise. You were never abandoned, even when it felt like no one was listening, because God was watching in silence, planning your comeback moment with divine precision. Every unanswered prayer, every tear you hid behind a smile, every sleepless night, He counted them all and turned them into bricks for your next breakthrough. Sometimes God lets you walk through loneliness so you understand the power of His presence when He shows up. You think you're alone in the room, but heaven is crowded with angels watching over you, moving pieces in your favor. The pain you carry in silence is louder in heaven than the prayers you speak aloud. God responds to your heart, not just your words. You weren't forgotten. You were being prepared. You weren't left behind. You were being positioned. That detour you hated was God rerouting you to the blessing that would have never reached you on the old path. That rejection you couldn't understand was divine redirection in disguise. The relationship that broke you wasn't meant to last. It was meant to reveal how deeply you needed healing. God didn't allow them to stay because they were blocking what's next. Stop blaming yourself for what didn't work. Start thanking God for what's about to align. The universe is not against you. It's realigning to support the purpose God breathed into your soul before you were even born. You didn't lose time. You gained wisdom. You didn't lose people. You gained clarity. You didn't lose hope. You just misplaced it for a while, and now God is giving it back to you in double measure. You're not too late. You're not too broken. You're not too far gone. This is still your story, and God is still the author. There's a reason you're seeing this message right now. It's not a coincidence. It's a confirmation. Heaven is whispering, "Hold on, I'm not done with you yet." Those silent cries in the bathroom, those fake smiles in front of people, those late-night battles with your mind. God saw them all and said, "This child is mine and I won't let them fall." What you think is the end is just the middle. What you think is silence is preparation. What you think is punishment is protection. Don't confuse delay with denial. Just because it's not happening now doesn't mean it's not coming. God's timing is not rejection, it's perfection. You're asking, why me? And God is answering, because I've trusted you with a deeper strength, a greater calling, a louder testimony. You didn't go through all that pain for nothing. Your scars are evidence that hell tried, but heaven won. Your breath is proof that you've already survived what was meant to destroy you. You are still here. That's your victory. That's your miracle. That's your message. You don't need to be fearless to walk forward. You just need to trust the one walking with you. God didn't bring you this far to leave you empty. He didn't plant you just to abandon the growth. You're still in progress, and progress is holy. You're still healing, and healing is sacred. You're still believing, and belief is powerful. You're still here, and here is holy ground. Start again, not because you failed, but because you're wiser now. Begin again, not because you lost, but because you've been found by grace. Dream again, not because it's safe, but because it's divine. That dream in your heart is a seed God put there. It's not delusion, it's destiny. Stop shrinking to fit into spaces God is trying to call you out of. Stop settling for less when God is screaming, "I have more." You were born for more than survival. You were born to shine. You weren't meant to be invisible. You were made to reflect heaven. You weren't created to beg. You were made to declare. You weren't designed to fear. You were designed to reign. You don't have to understand everything to trust the one who does. Faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about following even in the silence. The road you're walking may be lonely, but it's not empty. God walks every step with you. You are surrounded by favor. You are shielded by grace. You are empowered by truth. You are covered in mercy. That sickness won't win. That financial burden won't bury you. That heartbreak won't define you. That mistake won't destroy you. You are not what you did. You are what God is doing through you. Shame is not your story. Redemption is. Fear is not your ending. Faith is. Darkness is not your forever. Light is. You are still the child of the Most High. You are still held in holy hands. You are still chosen, anointed, called. And you are still not alone. Even now, angels are moving around you. Even now, God is making a way where there was none. Even now, something is shifting in your favor. Even now, doors are being unlocked. Even now, your name is being spoken in rooms you haven't entered yet. Even now, miracles are multiplying on your behalf. You're not reading this by accident. You're reading it because heaven has something to say. And here it is. Don't give up. Don't walk away. Don't quit. You're closer than you think. The blessing is not just coming. It's already begun. Look again. Breathe again. Believe again. The valley will not break you. It will birth you. The storm won't drown you. It will cleanse you. The silence won't erase you. It will amplify you. God's silence is not absence. It's setup. You are about to step into everything you thought you lost. Everything the enemy stole, God is restoring sevenfold. Every disappointment is being flipped into divine appointment. Every no you cried over is turning into a louder yes than you imagined. Every lonely night is becoming the foundation of the strength you'll need for the spotlight. Every "I can't take this anymore" moment is being transformed into "Thank God I didn't give up." Keep going, because someone is waiting to be inspired by your comeback. Keep going, because your story is someone else's survival manual. Keep going, because you've already made it farther than the voices in your head said you could. Keep going, because God is still writing, still working, still watching. And you're not alone, not now, not ever. God is with you in the fire. God is with you in the dark. God is with you in the waiting. God is with you in the breaking. And God will be with you in the breakthrough. If you feel like no one gets you, remember, God made you. If you feel unseen, remember, God sees you clearly. If you feel unloved, remember, God's love is not based on your performance. It's anchored in His promise. You don't have to earn His presence. You already have it. You don't have to fight for His attention. You've always had His heart. So rest, not because the battle is over, but because God is fighting for you now. Rest, not because you've figured it all out, but because the one who holds tomorrow already has the answers. Rest, because the weight you've been carrying was never yours alone to begin with. You were never created to carry it all, just to trust the one who can let go of control and take hold of grace. Let go of fear and grab onto faith. Let go of the past and lean into the promise. You're not finished. God's just getting started. You're not too late. Your timing is divine. You're not forgotten. You're front of mind in heaven. And you're not alone. Heaven is closer than you think. Trust that. Believe that. Speak that. Live that. Share that. Because someone else needs to hear it too. And as you remind them, you'll remind yourself, you're not alone. You never were. You never will be. For God is with you, always. If you're reading this right now, it means the universe conspired to put these words in front of your soul, because God wants to remind you, you're not alone. Not in the heartbreak, not in the confusion, not in the waiting, not in the pain. You were never truly by yourself. There's a silent force that's been walking with you, even when you couldn't feel anything but emptiness. God hasn't forgotten you. He's been walking beside you while you questioned everything. He heard the cries behind your confidence, the anxiety behind your laughter, the tiredness behind your strength. He saw it all, and He's still here, not because you earned it, but because He chose you. And when God chooses you, no rejection can unchoose you. No delay can cancel His promise. No mistake can disqualify your purpose. When everyone walked away, He stayed. When you doubted your worth, He still called you worthy. When you fell apart, He collected every broken piece and whispered, "I can rebuild this into something holy." Stop thinking you're behind. God is still working, even in the silence. The quiet seasons are not punishment. They are preparation. The dark nights are not curses. They are chapters. And the loneliness you feel is not abandonment. It's alignment. You were separated so you could be elevated. You were isolated so you could hear the whisper. You were slowed down so you wouldn't miss what's ahead. You were held back, not because you were failing, but because God was upgrading your path. He didn't bring you here to break you. He brought you here to reveal you. You are not stuck, you are safe. You are not lost, you are being led. You are not empty, you are being filled. And you are not alone, you are being held. You've been strong for so long that you forgot what it feels like to be supported. But here's your reminder. God is your strength when yours runs out. He's your peace when your thoughts race. He's your light when your world grows dim. He's your anchor when everything else feels unstable. And He's not going anywhere. Even when your faith is fragile. Even when your doubts scream louder than your hope. Even when you mess up again and again, He's still there. That love isn't like human love. It doesn't walk away when things get hard. It doesn't fade with time. It doesn't depend on your performance. It is faithful, unchanging, relentless. That's the kind of love holding you right now. That's the kind of God who sees you when you feel invisible. The God who numbers your tears, who translates your sighs into prayers, who interprets your silence as sacred communion, who knows your tomorrow better than you understand your yesterday. He's not watching you suffer for entertainment. He's weaving glory through your pain. He's shaping gold from your pressure. He's building strength from your surrender. He's growing faith from your fire. The very thing you're begging to escape is the very ground God is using to grow you. The challenge is not a wall, it's a door. The mountain is not a block, it's a climb. The wound is not a death sentence, it's a birthmark for the new you. You are not alone in the climb. You are not alone in the fall. You are not alone in the rebuild. You are not alone in the rise. God is in your breath. He is in your stillness. He is in the waiting room of your soul. And even when no one checks on you, He does. Even when no one texts you, He speaks. Even when no one understands you, He knows you completely. And still, He loves you. This isn't the end. This is a turning point. This is the place where your story pivots, where your weakness becomes your worship, where your fear becomes your fuel, where your scars become your sermon. You don't have to know how it will all work out. You just have to know who's walking it out with you. And He's never lost a battle, never made a mistake, never left one promise undone. He's the God who calms storms with a word, who parts seas when there's no way forward, who brings water out of dry places, who heals without needing a reason, and who calls you His, even when you don't feel like enough. You are not alone in this chapter. You are not the only one battling this storm. You are not forgotten, abandoned, or cursed. You are covered by grace, surrounded by mercy, guarded by angels, empowered by the Spirit, held by nail-pierced hands that will never let go. You may feel weary, but God is renewing you even now. You may feel small, but God is making room for your voice. You may feel late, but God is redeeming time for your sake. You may feel broken, but God sees you as a masterpiece in progress. So keep walking, keep breathing, keep whispering your prayers even when they feel empty. Heaven hears every word, even the ones you can't say. You are not just surviving, you are stepping into something sacred. You are not just wandering, you are being led. You are not just waiting, you are being woven into a greater story. Don't give up now. Don't turn back. Don't silence your dreams. Don't bury your calling. You are almost there. Heaven is closer than you think. The breakthrough is closer than it feels. And the God who brought you this far didn't do it just to leave you here. You're not alone. Not in your mind battles. Not in your spiritual questions. Not in your aching heart. He is Emmanuel, God with you. And not just on Sundays, not just when you feel spiritual, not just when you get it right. He is with you in your worst too. In your addictions, in your anger, in your regrets, in your failures. He's not shocked by your humanity. He stepped into it himself. You are loved beyond logic, seen beyond performance, chosen beyond perfection, redeemed beyond your past. And today, he's saying to your soul, you're not alone. You're loved, carried, protected, and destined. Don't give up, because something divine is just beginning.